All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 38th episode of the IGC Podcast, the podcast for mature adults who like to joke around, play video games, be curious to get rowdy, have a good time doing it. How is everybody doing this evening? We are starting an hour late. I do apologize for that, but how are you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. How are you?
Audience is doing well. Is anyone else doing well?
I thought there was something odd about this time.
You didn't get my messages? We're starting an hour late.
Yeah,
I'm still waking
I'm
up.
sure they were there somewhere.
I can forgive Cipher, though, because he works weird hours.
Gray's still operating on the pretense that we actually read his messages.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyway, so the assholes that are here with us at the podcast today, well, we'll start with Naughty since he's at the top of the list here. Welcome, Naughtius.
Fresh off my 2-week ban from Grand Theft Auto and ready to play some games.
Wonderful. And also with us today is AI Monster is back with us once more.
Yep.
And Lucy is here.
Hello.
Welcome. And you should be very proud of your countrymen putting out the biggest game of the year this upcoming week, right?
I know. Yep.
And Papa J is with us here today as well.
Victory will be mine.
And last but not least, Cipher is here.
What's going on? What's going on?
Cipher should also be happy because there's big things going on with Konami.
I just want to comment.
Yeah.
Papa J
fuck
is
Konami.
already the fucking king of Tokyo, and now he wants more victories.
I heard about that. He sent me like this elated message yesterday that he fucking won. He was king of Tokyo. Was it like an exciting game?
I was king twice. I fucking destroyed kids.
The twice
Like, it was.
crowned king.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a big deal,
He
man.
didn't destroy.
I got
could've-
11
I could-
victory points. I got 11 victory points in one turn, bro. Pretty sure if that's not destruction, then I don't know what is. In fact, I believe it's called complete destruction.
He took it
Card.
not to just 10, but to 11.
Oh, wow.
There we go. That's what I was waiting for.
Oh, you know, for-
with
There's probably people listening who are like, what the fuck are you talking about? So Saturday nights we do tabletop simulator game and we post them on our YouTube channel. So last night they played King of Tokyo and apparently they won, and we won't tell you what happened. You can go watch it on the YouTube channel as soon as we get it up there sometime tomorrow, I suppose. Today we're going to talk about the shit that has gone down in the video game industry over the past 2 weeks, and there has been quite a bit of it. So, for
Where
those...
do we even start?
Well, we decided that before the podcast, thankfully. So for anyone who has their finger on the pulse of what the hell is actually going on this week, The Witcher 3, one of the most anticipated games of the year, is hitting the shelves digitally and really, I guess, because it is coming out on every console that you can think of. Well, not Wii U.
Well, with a nice big fat day one patch.
Yes, with a big day one patch. And on PC, of course. And there has been some shit that's been going down with this. Now, CD Projekt Red, if you aren't aware, is actually... they actually own Good Old Games, where this game has been primarily distributed. They've been really pushing the game through their service to the point where they're giving you a 10% discount if you own the other two Witcher games for each game you own. Like, they've really been trying to get people to buy it from their service. And... Naughty, why don't you tell us recently what happened and what you did about that?
What I did about it. Alright.
Trying to be as cryptic as possible.
Yeah, indeed. So, there was a bit of a conflict between Green Man Gaming, who's become known as a well-known and reputable vendor of PC games in the industry. Typically, if a game is coming out, you can go to Green Man Gaming, and we're not affiliated with them anyway, we don't get any kickbacks, but you can get it for substantially less than Steam might be offering it, or you might be able to pick it up at other retail locations. It's just kind of what they do. And they've never had any issues with codes being considered not legitimate until CD Projekt came around. And CD Projekt accused Green Man Gaming of selling illegitimate Witcher 3 codes. And that kind of raised a bit of a conversation between the two, and then the internet got involved.
It raises a question, like, the only source of codes other than GOG itself, and obviously Steam, which is probably selling GOG codes too, that I can think of were the vouchers that were coming out with NVIDIA cards over the past 2 or 3 months, right? Like, where could they have gotten like a huge amount of codes from? I don't get this.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, you know. And I know the new NVIDIA cards come with Witcher 3 and Arkham Knight.
Yeah, and resellers on eBay have been selling them for like $25 to $28. Usually, like right around that price. Like they started around 25, or you can buy it now for 25, 28. Like I purchased one myself, and then felt bad and actually purchased an actual code for the game. So I bought the game twice. But where the hell were these keys coming from? Like I don't understand. Like were they must have been reselling the video card voucher codes, right? I mean, I can't imagine that GMG would do something shady. Like,
there's a lot of speculation, and frankly, we don't have a clear answer. Green Man Gaming maintains that their codes were obtained from legitimate sources, and there's been a lot of speculation that Green Man Gaming was selling these at, not a loss, but they were pretty much break even, just to keep their name in the game.
As a consumer, it's hard to hard to make a decision, like a moral choice like this, when you want to vote with your wallet and you also want to support the developer. Like the cheapest you could get the game on GOG, and I'm going to bring it up right now because it's been on the front page of GOG Galaxy for forever. It's I have 20% off because I own Witcher 1 and 2 on GOG. It's $47.99. Now the GMG code a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, basically you could get it for $39, I think was the price.
Right.
And that's a pretty good deal.
Now, coincidentally, the $47.99 is the Steam pre-order price.
I think the Steam pre-order price is $53.99 though. I think it's only 10% off.
Yeah, it was.
Well, when I canceled my pre-order, I got $47.99 back.
Or was it $49.99? Oh.
I don't know, because it's been 10% off for a while now. Do you own the other Witcher games on Steam? And maybe that's why. I do. That may be why they may be doubling the same discount over for Steam, because I don't own any of the Witcher games on there. I have them both on GOG. Okay, so they're the same price on both places, depending on which DRM you want. Which you don't actually need DRM for this game because Good Old Games doesn't support DRM stuff. I don't know.
This all just strikes me as really shady and really strange. I mean, if you're selling a game, isn't your ultimate goal to get your game out on as many retailers as possible and get the game sold? Why are you trying to corral everybody to your service? I mean, obviously you're going to rake in the better part of it, but a lot of people aren't going to order The Witcher 3 Good Old Games.
With services like that, you don't realize how much they take.
Oh, we do now after last week and the whole debacle with the paid mods. We know Steam gets a very generous cut of anything they do.
And I wouldn't be surprised that Green Man Gaming takes 50% of the profit. Obviously, Witcher 3 was developed for a long time. They put a lot of money in, and people want to buy the game, so they want to sell it for as much profit as they can, They still have games to go, and
I believe they make 30% just as much as Steam takes.
Which is a chunk of money for basically just being a digital distribution platform in a storefront.
For handing out the code,
standard
is all they're doing.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, when you get The Witcher 3 from any of these sites, you get a Steam code.
And especially they're selling it for $40, which is less than Steam, so people would be more inclined to go to them. And so, that's significantly less money for CD Projekt Red if they were getting paid.
Yeah. And just personally, I was disappointed that this news came out literally a day after I bought my GMG code. Now, initially, I had gone to eBay and paid $25 for a GOG account that had the game redeemed on it, presumably from the NVIDIA voucher. But I decided that I didn't want that, so I ended up selling that, passing that account off to somebody that I knew for the same price, $25, whatever. And I went to GMG and I saw, I have this discount on the game through VIP or whatever. I'm going to buy it for $39. And I felt good about my purchase because, I know I spent $14 more, but at least it's going to go into the hands of GOG. And then it didn't, and I kind of felt shitty about that. And to hear this was these illegitimate keys or whatever, it's so disappointing. When you're trying to do the right thing and spend a little more money, and then it sort of falls through the cracks. And GMG really had no qualms about this, it seems, and I like their service in general. But this came off to me as kind of as you said, shady and not right.
And and it might not be GMG's fault. Maybe they bought codes off of somebody who makes the cards or something, and that's
Well, I
what
think
they
you're
ended
missing
up with.
the bigger picture here is that GMG was working with CD Projekt Red to obtain legitimate codes, and they could not come to an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand that. Okay, so they've pushed The Witcher back a few times, right? This was a game that was supposed to release like in I think October of last year, and then it got pushed back to like March or January, and then it got pushed back to May, basically. And Arkham Knight went through the same sort of business, right? So it's no surprise that they're both in the same bundle too. But they know that they had GOG Galaxy going on, and they knew that they had a launch date for that. But they were going to be trying to release this game right alongside their own DRM platform to kind of quote unquote compete with Steam, which we know it's not gonna. It doesn't have the same kind of library, doesn't have the same features and things like that. I don't blame them so much for trying to push their own game on their own service. I mean, we do that here at IGC whenever we try to merge with a guild. We say you need to come in and be a part of our community, right? I mean, they're trying to preserve themselves for whatever, and I get that.
And the other developers do it too. Ubisoft, puts out their games on
and Uplay
puts their games on Origin, and so on.
Can someone explain this to me? Because I don't understand. These are CD keys. They can produce as many.
Keys.
What? What's that?
They're Steam keys. You're getting the game on Steam.
Okay, they're Steam keys. Whatever. They can produce as many of them as they want.
Well,
there's no real limit.
The GMG key specifically says that it redeems the GMG key that I bought, the $39 one, specifically says it redeems on GOG. But if I go into my GMG account right now, it still does not have the download link. When I go to it says this game will be available closer to launch, and in the key area it says keys are not available until the game is released.
That is typical for GMG.
It is. It's just in this particular situation, it's even additionally shady because you're like, well, it's Sunday now and I still don't have it. I'm gonna go log into it right now. Check.
It's just a key. There's no physical good here. It's just bandwidth. There's not really anything to limit here. They could just provide as many as they want. I don't understand what's going on here. I really don't.
It has to do with the way the keys are finally distributed to the distributors of the keys. It's a really weird system.
Then maybe they should fix that fucking system.
No argument for me.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you there. When I try to go into my GMG account, to my library, it says this game is not available for download yet. It will be on, period, doesn't have the date. Any required keys will be made available on that date. It does not even have a date where I will be getting my key.
You will likely have it tomorrow.
But yeah, tomorrow or whatever. Like I know that they just opened up the redemptions last Tuesday, a week ahead, so you could preload it on GOG if you bought it through GOG. Just a concern, I'm not saying that CD Projekt are the good guys here, but I can see where they're coming from and wanting to push their game on their service. They fucking own the company. I mean, they can do whatever they want at the end of the day. But something tells me that whoever was making that deal with GMG, they knew that CD Projekt Red did not want to get into bed with them with CD keys, so they found another way to do it. And to me, that's bad on them for trying to make money off in a secondary market, because CD Projekt Red's now not seeing any money from the sale of those games. And I'm sure with as big as GMG is and how many keys got purchased on there for $8 less than what you could get on GOG without having to own any of the Witcher games, that to me is like
right.
Bad business.
From what we're hearing is, so CD Projekt Red sees no cash and Greenman Gaming sees no cash. So there is no winner here. Well, the winner is the customer, I suppose.
But would they offer it though if they were making no cash? I don't know if I buy that.
I think
they would, because they're bringing people onto their platform.
But the thing is, GMG doesn't have a platform. They have Capsule to update games, which is terrible.
GMG has not a facade, but a reputation to keep that they will have new release games for less than you can get on the official platforms. Mm-hmm. That is their stance. And so I'm willing to, if they break even, why not?
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, the reputation is important. They just sent out a 27% off the Witcher coupon on Friday as well, if you guys saw that. I got the email. I subscribed to them on that. So anyway.
I just think it was a bad move when they say they were negotiating with CD Projekt Red and they couldn't come to an agreement and then still go behind their back basically and sell it.
Yeah.
Well, that implies that CD Projekt Red was seeking like severely coarse terms, as far as Greenland Gaming was concerned. It was not advantageous to GMG to pursue that deal.
Yeah, but anyways, they, CD Projekt said no, and they still went and sold it.
Yeah, and if they're making no profit off of this deal anyway, like why wouldn't they have just taken an actual cut from the other sales? Like I don't know. There's something we don't know about here, and we're probably never going to know because this is all going to get swept into the rug pretty soon. It kind of already has been, and people are just going to play the game, and that's that. And GMG will keep selling games and at good prices, and we'll keep going there because they offer really good prices. I mean, sure. You can't argue with it. I still have
how far
like
is CD Projekt willing to go though. I mean, if they go in and suspend all those CD keys, it's just going to be a PR nightmare.
They won't do that. No, I mean we saw what happened when Ubisoft did that. Last time with what was it? Were the Assassin's Creed keys or were they Watchdog keys? I forget.
They did that with Fallout, or not Fallout, but Far Cry, didn't they?
That might be the one.
Well,
yeah.
They already have drama around them now, so I don't think they're going to want to look like the villain again.
Yeah, I agree. They should just lay low and just let it happen and just let it go and just because there's going to be people who are going to buy the game after launch because they hear their friends bought it and it was a good game and whatever. So they're not going to lose money on any.
What was
deal.
their third-party service? Galaxy or something like that?
Galaxy. It's like a client they have now. It's in beta. It's like a 50 meg update every goddamn day too.
Yeah, sure.
It's not. I mean, it's not a bad client, but it's lightweight. It's got a storefront and it's got your game library, and that's about it. Like, there's not much else going on.
I can't keep.
So
it's enough.
Unfortunately, the Witcher 3 controversy does not end there.
It doesn't?
No, it does not.
No, it does not.
Oh boy. There's more?
Wait, there's more. Yes, so about a week ago, some people started to get early release copies and dev builds of the game, and they were playing it on the PC, and they started to notice inconsistencies between the actual game that they were playing and the gameplay trailers / 30-minute gameplay early release kind of teasers that they were releasing for the game. Point being, the game doesn't look as good as it should.
Where have we seen this before?
Yeah, so a lot of people are beginning to accuse CD Projekt Red of taking a page out of the Ubisoft playbook and releasing what we call bullshot videos, where the gameplay videos, even like recent gameplay videos, are showing a build of the game that is far more graphically advanced, far more capable, has higher polygon models, higher textures, enhanced particle effects, and third-party rendering techniques that aren't being used in the release version. And
maybe CD Projekt Red is just trying to break out of the indie scene and become like one of these big giant publishers. And
let's not like mince words with indie and shit, because I know they only make like one game every like 5 years, whatever. But they're a big studio, and with the amount of promotion they've done for this game, even releasing their own client through a subsidiary of GOG, like they have been flying out game reviewers and podcasters and Twitch streamers out to Poland for the past 2 months to go and look at this game, and then they've had them under a video NDA, or not a video NDA. They've had them under like a talking NDA, but they can show video of certain parts of the game. They have plenty of money, and once Witcher's done, they're going to start with Cyberpunk. I mean.
Yeah, I think they had 1 million pre-orders, which I believe is more than most Ubisoft.
Doesn't surprise me, because this game has been hyped to shit. And I know we're getting away from the issue. Like, my only arguing point there is like, people get review copy, and we don't get review copy because we're not like that big, in the video game industry or whatever. But I'm sure that most review copies are not necessarily the same quality that you're going to get on release. Like, they're probably some form of development build, and a lot of them were coming out on PS4, from what I understand. A lot of those review copies were not on PC, but I mean, I could be wrong. I'm just going by what I hear, listening to other podcasts and reading other news articles and stuff.
The review that I actually watched mentioned that the first area that you start out in the game is the worst looking one. Like, the guy was saying that it seems like they maybe added it in the late in the production cycle, so it just doesn't, it still looks good, but not as great as the other areas. So I wonder if that has, some weight.
I think we've all just misunderstood. This was a trailer for the enhanced edition that's coming out in a year.
Oh, okay.
We're going that direction.
Oh, the DLC, right?
So let's look at what we know. There have been people associated with CD Projekt who wish to remain anonymous. Now, if you want to believe what they're saying or not, that's your own prerogative. However, they're saying basically, based on what we've seen from the moderate to late stage, gameplay trailers, what we're seeing now is that the game has been consoleized, regrettably.
Of course it has.
The level of detail and view distance has been dramatically decreased. We've lost a lot of, technologies like volume-based translucency, ambient occlusion, foliage density, and tree count. The flexible water simulation, I'm just going on the list here. This is the odd thing: flexible water simulation and tessellation. They're saying, that somebody associated with CD Projekt Red is saying this is all script-based now, something like you've seen in BioShock. Whereas if you go to the NVIDIA page, they're still saying, no, the water effects are all tessellation-based. So everybody's a little curious to see what's going on there. But the simple fact of the matter is the game looks worse than it did in their supposedly gameplay footage.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the images now. I totally agree.
I think it's bullshit. It was done because it was for consoles to be comparable to consoles. Is that what you're getting at?
That's where I'm going, and
I call bullshit on that because I think if they did those things, it was because it was poorly optimized and it wouldn't run well, so they removed those features. I don't see them doing that just to make the PC version compared to a console.
No. It already had, some crazy requirements for the PC, so...
Well, and that's what I was going to bring up, too. This game has been... NVIDIA and CD Projekt Red obviously had some kind of deal with, the whole voucher thing, whatever. And when they talked about the recommended minimums for this game, they were talking like, you need like a 660 minimum or whatever, and like a 970 or 770 recommended. For maximum, you need like a 970, 980, whatever. And recently they put out a new chart where they're like, oh, well, to get like the tessellation and play it on Ultra, you're going to need like a 980, whatever, 4 gigabytes, whatever the fuck. And it's like, I feel like, there's something going on there with NVIDIA too. Maybe it's conspiracy level theory shit, whatever. Like NVIDIA is trying to push higher level video cards on people to get the game as well. And maybe they're saying like, you need a better video card than you actually do to play this game. Like, I always worry about that when like, these game developers go into these deals to give out, stuff. Like we saw with Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider did the same thing. And Tress Effects was a big deal back then too, if you remember. And they were saying like, oh, well, you're going to need a better video card than this one that the game comes with to get it. But we also are packaging the game with our 700 series, so you might want to do that so you can have the Tress Effects.
Look,
am I talking to a wall? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
To be honest, do you really need tessellation and forward soft
No.
particles? The game's going to look fantastic.
Yeah.
I need them.
Cipher needs them.
I don't know if it's, console level, but...
I really don't even
if that is what you are selling the game off of in your supposedly gameplay footage trailers, then yes, they should be in there.
They should not.
I agree.
They should. This is something game developers need to stop doing. They should stop releasing trailers with all the shit pumped up on ultra high and things like that. I know they want the best presentation possible for their game, but there's a good chance that stuff's going to get cut out.
Yeah, but everyone does that. All the Xbox and PlayStation games are usually shown on PC.
Well, it's false advertising. I mean,
I know, but it's just what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, have they released the statement regarding, hey, we had to do some cuts because it wasn't optimized properly. We're sorry, but
No.
I mean,
And they're not gonna.
Just to be open would go a long way.
No, they're not gonna do that at this point. The game's 2 days away from release.
Roundabout statements, not official CD Projekt Red releases, but trustworthy sources saying yes, the game was culled back detail-wise because of the consoles and because we can't guarantee that those technologies and those effects at the level that we were running them could even run on a mid-range PC.
Goddamn Marxist consoles.
That's what I'm saying. Filthy console peasants ruining my games.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone needs to have DirectX 9.
I want to play with
No!
you on my PS2.
You guys are being too hard on consoles, I think. And you know what? Coming from me, that's saying a lot.
Really? This is the second game we're seeing here in this generation that's kind of gone down that road where the consoles couldn't deliver, so the PC game suffers when really there's no need for the PC game to suffer.
Consoles are the ISIS of gaming.
I have no counter argument for that.
Like Watch Dogs, GTA, now this.
Oh God, I don't
GTA
have.
took a fucking year and a half to come out on PC even after the fact.
We all took math in 4th grade. We all know what the LCD stands for.
Oh God, I don't have volume-based translucency. What will I do?
What? Listen, we spent a lot of time on this topic. The fact of the matter is, there's 6 of us in here talking about this right now who actually has a game. Naughty's is off board. He's jumped ship. I'm still on board.
Solution.
The game may
Cancel
be awesome.
the pre-order.
It might be, but here's the simple matter of the fact: you nearly promised something that you're not delivering. This is CD Projekt Red, a company that built The Witcher, The Witcher 2, which were almost solely built upon the PC environment. They never had to bother catering with consoles. The Witcher 2 consoles were an afterthought. Here comes The Witcher 3, and there's a lot of people saying, and I tend to agree, that certain elements of The Witcher 3 look worse than The Witcher 2. I mean, the gameplay may be awesome, and it very well might be, but you cannot come out, releasing gameplay demos and then delivering something completely different.
Well, we will see on Monday.
Yeah. They pulled a Crysis 2 on us.
Or not just a Crysis 2, they pulled an Underdog or Watch Dogs.
Have anyone actually read the reviews for the game? Because there's some negative
They've been
stuff
positive.
in there. They've been overwhelmingly positive, but there is some negative stuff in there. The game is very buggy, from what I understand.
But we knew that was going to be.
We
Yeah,
knew
we
that
knew
was
it.
gonna happen. And like Nadia said, there's gonna be a huge patch, so it might, address that. But most of the complaints were like, because the world is so big and there's so many quests, sometimes you can break a quest by doing something out of order, and it's understandable.
It's understandable, but let's not make that synonymous with excusable, because we don't want to go that route. But this is a big undertaking for CD Projekt Red. This is their first true open world style game. The Witcher 2 was a step closer, but it was not. It was still small areas, relatively larger than The Witcher 1, but was still a theme park in its own way. This is ambitious for them. They are, to AI's point earlier, they are still kind of an indie. They have things to work out, and they clearly want their game to be on as many platforms as possible, to have their fingers in as many markets as possible, to make this the most profitable game for them, and they'll fix it. I have no...
You can call anybody indie when they are their own developer and publisher.
That's exactly what indie is.
No, but of this scale, when they own good old games. Come on.
It is, yeah, no, there's a gray area there. Like, they are pretty big now, but they still only work on one title. I mean...
Technically, yes.
You could, yeah, kind of.
But yeah, CD Projekt Red isn't really indie anymore either. I agree, but
it depends on like the tier of your company.
That was a joke I made. That was a joke I made earlier about them trying to be like AAA publishers. I just want to clarify.
They're an indie that tries to make AAA games. Anyway, can we move on? Because we have to talk about so many other things, and we have given this topic literally half an hour. Which, it was worth it. I'm not saying it wasn't, but you know what? We'll have the game in hand Tuesday, and in 2 weeks when we meet again, We'll be able to talk about all the glorious bugs and Geralt's awesome sex scenes.
I won't be.
Unlocks on Steam tomorrow at 8 p.m. apparently.
I will be waiting for the PC Definitive Edition.
That's fine.
I guarantee you it's coming. I guarantee it.
That's fine. You can watch my stream in the meantime. I will be playing it. Okay, so the Konami Kojima drama continues. So over the past 2 weeks since we last met, Konami has pulled PT, which is effectively the demo for Silent Hills, from the digital store. And unless it is downloaded on your PlayStation, you no longer have access to it. You cannot get it anymore. If you have it in your library and you deleted it, you cannot get it again. Kind of strange. I mean, that the company would do this, but I mean, I get why they would do it. First impressions. What does this bother you guys? Did you see this coming? Do you feel like this is overreaching? I mean, I
think we all saw it coming.
Yeah, I think we did.
Konami wants out of the console business.
Mm-hmm.
They do, in fact.
Such a radical restructuring so fast. I mean, I don't get it. Mobile gaming is not the future, so you can cram that shit up your ass.
I think mobile gaming is the present, though. Whether or not we are the demographic for it, there are millions of people who play games on their phone every day, every minute of every day.
It's already dropping off, though.
It's really bad. There's no quality within any of it.
All these big companies like Candy Crush and all those big games are already starting to drop off, and Zynga's
people are getting sick of the freemium bloatware shit.
But that's the thing, you know, with the mobile games, they can put a small investment and see an immediate payout. Where with Kojima, like I said before, Kojima would develop games for 7 years and take insane amounts of money, and the payoff wasn't guaranteed.
We also have to keep in mind the market that Konami is serving, right? I mean, Konami's been serving the Japanese market for a long time. Even Nintendo most recently paired up with DNA to basically serve games that may not get localized here, and they're going mobile. Mobile is big in Japan, like fucking huge in Japan, because people don't have necessarily a lot of space to put giant consoles on. You know, people there play Sony, they play 3DS, it's huge there. Like, I don't know, maybe Konami they're obviously trying to get out of video games.
There's a huge difference between, like, handheld console, dedicated consoles, and, like, ISO mobile gaming market.
This is true.
Namely, microtransaction bullshit.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I'd hate to say this, but Square Enix has the right idea here. Like with the way their company is structured, where they're still making a big title, once or twice a year, and then they have a bunch of mid-range titles they're making. Then they have the mobile titles they're making that are, they make a lot of those. So they have the tiers in the company, and they still work on big games, they still work on medium games, and they still work on mobile games.
And they work on ports. They've sent pretty much every Final Fantasy now to iOS and Android. They've got them also on Steam. They're basically the same version of the game. My issue with it is just price point. Like, Square Enix loves to sell shit at $15.99. That seems to be like their golden number or something like that. That is way too much money for a typical mobile game for someone to play. But they had Record Keeper, which was a free-to-play game that people said was a really great free-to-play game and didn't really require you to engage in the microtransactions like in any way, because if you know anything about those games, they have stamina bars, and the stamina bar didn't exactly get worn down very quickly.
Of course, they also had all the bravest. So.
And all the right. I mean, they have things on there. Like, when Konami says they want to focus on mobile gaming, which is essentially what came out of all this with, their major restructuring, like, we don't know what that necessarily means, do we? I mean, could it be iOS?
It means
I guess it should be.
Putting all their eggs in one basket, and it's going to blow up in their face, but...
Mm-hmm.
Konami's done. They're done as a major video game.
Means they're knocking on the doors of 1983.
I feel like they've been done for a while. I mean, what was their last major release? Was it Lords of Shadow 2? I mean...
Yeah, which was terrible.
Which was bad, right?
It was horrible, yeah. It wasn't even made by them. It was, like, published by them, but it
was published by
somewhere in Spain.
And they still have valuable IPs to their name. I mean, they got Metal Gear, right?
But one of them is going to be done, but we'll talk about that later.
And they still have Silent Hill. I mean, they own these things. We don't know what the future holds for those particular IPs, but what do you guys see Konami doing with mobile?
Fucking it up.
Freemium.
Fucking
Everything freemium.
Everything freemium, okay.
What is it gonna be? Metal Gear for iPhone, and you're gonna buy bullets for your gun with microtransactions?
Yes, you have to pay $1 for a bullet.
Snake runs out of stamina, so you have to refill his
Oh,
stamina.
you have to buy stamina. Okay, good.
Yes.
I think it's a mistake to focus that much into mobile, especially with the current climate. If they want to, do some type of reform and change within mobile, kind of do their own deal. But if they're just going down the same microtransaction route, then it's a really bad idea.
So I take it, Seafer, you don't...
It's namely the quality. I mean, you can make as much money as you want. If you have a shitty rap, you have a shitty rap.
I mean, I think that there's quality in the mobile market, but it's a lot like trying to go on Steam Greenlight. Like, it's finding a needle in a haystack, essentially. There are good games on mobile. Like, I played Final Fantasy Dimensions, which was an original iOS-only mobile release by Square Enix 2 years ago, I want to say. That game was phenomenal. I mean, if you liked the old Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6, turn-based SNES-looking graphic type stuff, it was 16-bit. It's a fantastic game. Like, there's quality to be found. It's just few and far between. And I don't know if Konami can do that same thing, but if they pair up with the right partners, like maybe DNA, who seems to put out good stuff over there, maybe they could do it right, and maybe they'll bring some stuff here localized, and maybe we'll like it. I mean, who knows? I take it none of you guys are iOS gamers.
Have they done anything right, though? I mean, so why expect it?
Those very words are offensive, sir.
I'm not saying they're gonna. I'm just saying when you're at the bottom, the only way to go is up, right?
And do people even care for good games on mobile platforms, on cell phones? It seems to me like...
That's the thing.
Seems to me like people like games like Candy Crush and Bejeweled or stuff like that, where you can just kill 15 minutes while you're waiting for something.
Yeah, you're really sitting on the line in the DMV. Yeah. You're riding the bus. I mean, how long is it going to take until like the epic saga type stories of Witcher 3 and so anything with complexity is just going to be replaced because it's quote not in demand.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Vita's for.
Maybe it's just not for us, guys. And maybe that's what it comes down to.
Conspiracy theorist. They're breaking the seventh seal, releasing the Four Horsemen in 1983.
I mean, what if Kojima decides to put up a Kickstarter and he's going to make iOS games? Are you going to buy them?
No, fuck him.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised, Seafer.
I like him. I don't like him that much.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's not, he's going to be done with Konami.
Come play Metal
He's done with Konami, but we still
Metal Gear Rex.
We still have yet to see what Kojima's future is.
He's
right?
not going to go to mobile. That's not happening.
Tilt the phone to the left to steer left.
The fucking blasphemy.
Maybe they will rent out their IPs. I mean, Castlevania was made by a company in Spain, so maybe Metal Gear is gonna be made somewhere there too.
I don't think they're gonna put out a Castlevania game. Not after what we're gonna talk about later with Ego.
No, yeah,
it's not gonna happen. Anyway, okay. So over the past, I think it was about a week and a half ago, somebody on LinkedIn had put up a CV that stated that they were working for Murata Studios, and during their time there, back in December, I believe it said, they were working on a cinematic trailer for Fallout 4. Now, this pretty much confirmed that we're going to see a cinematic trailer for Fallout 4 at E3 because when this article hit, I think it was on it was on Destructoid. Destructoid got a letter from Bethesda telling them to pull that article immediately because someone broke NDA. I mean, and if that isn't confirmation enough that we're going to see this trailer in like 3 weeks,
pull an article.
That's true. But the LinkedIn profile also had their resume editor pulled off after that too. Like, this was a big deal. This went. This was a big thing. So now I think we know there's going to be a Fallout 4 trailer. Are we excited?
No surprise to anybody. We know, like, Bethesda goes on a TikTok cycle of Elder Scrolls Fallout now. That's just what they do.
Yay, cinematic trailer. I'm so excited.
Yay, no gameplay. Whatever.
Yes, no gameplay.
I actually want to know where it's going to be set in. There's been the rumor for the longest time that's in Boston.
Right.
The disk drive or the hard drive of a PC as it's being, streamed over.
Well, here's the thing. It's a cinematic trailer, yes. There's no gameplay, yes. Now, what does this say about the potential release date for this game? Because it's already been 5+ years since we've seen a Fallout game. Like, this is a long period of time. When the hell's the next Fallout coming?
2017.
2017? I mean, does Bethesda have a track record of putting out cinematic trailers 2 years before the game is coming out?
No, all they
I
need to
think
do.
so.
Look, all I want to see in the trailer is who's developing it. Is it Bethesda? Then it's gonna suck. Is it Obsidian? It might be good. That's all.
a good
I
point.
want to know.
I feel like if it was Obsidian, we would have heard something from them maybe by now. I know that
What?
they're good about keeping some interacts, but
Fallout 3 was just baseline, boring and shallow. I mean, yeah, they adopted the Fallout mechanics, but in the first-person mode, it had characters that you just didn't care to remember. They were boring. The quests were boring. Everything was fucking boring.
well, it was
Fallout
stripped
2,
down and
that's
accessible.
Fallout.
Is what it was, right? It was the first console release of a Fallout game. It was stripped down and accessible for people who didn't want to deal with things like reputation systems or other business that we dealt with in Fallout. More tactical style combat.
I think there's a theme here in this podcast. Consoles suck. They ruin PC gaming.
Well,
They haven't ruined it,
not ruined.
but they're certainly not helping it.
Yeah.
Except Nintendo, right?
Except Nintendo. No.
Nintendo gets a pass. They've always stayed in their own little world. That's fine.
Well, Nintendo's doing some stuff too. I mean, we'll move on from that. Nintendo announced that they're actually going to be holding the first Nintendo World Championship in 25 years at this upcoming E3. Does that make you... how does it make you feel?
I'll watch it.
I feel like I will too.
That nostalgia.
Makes me wish I had freaking vacation set aside for the summer. I would have gone and participated and represented IGC at the championships.
It makes me want to take vacation during that week and go fly fishing or something.
Now,
Show up with the power glove.
I'm not going to say that I know what Nintendo's going for here, but I will say this. At the 1990 World Championships, the finalists had to play Super Mario Bros. 3, correct? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, and when that was put up on the screen, that was the first time anyone had ever seen Super Mario Bros. 3, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, except the developers.
Well, I mean, consumer level, right? So, what if they do the same thing here? What is that game they're going to debut in the championship round? Is it going to be Star Fox? What is it going to be? Because I think that's what Nintendo wants everybody to talk about right now.
Star Fox is dead.
Is it going to be the new Zelda game? And what would it be? Would it be like, you're riding a pony shooting targets? Like
Zelda. Remember that whole announcement delay that
Right.
Zelda wouldn't be coming out in 2015, so
Right.
it's not
It's
going
gonna
to be
be-
that.
It's going to be Zelda, the thing of the thing.
It's gonna be Splatoon.
Splatoon, come on. It's not going to be Splatoon. It's going to be Nintendo something.
I'm hoping Metroid. I'm hoping like a multiplayer type Metroid thing. I would
A
love
Metroid
that.
game.
No, I mean,
I'd
like
be
a
excited
multiplayer,
for-
arena type combat thing like Doom or Quake, but like Metroid world shit.
I don't
I
think it'll
don't
be
know.
Metroid.
Metroid, okay.
It probably won't be.
An
but that's what I
open
would
world
love to
Metroid
see.
RPG.
Metroid isn't big enough in Japan. That's a problem.
Metroid with leveling up, finally. No, my money's on Star Fox. I feel like a flying that this would be the time to release a Star Fox game, like on the Wii, the Wii U.
The time.
It's the time. Like
The
it's
time
been a while.
It was like 15 years ago.
Listen, the last time we saw a Star Fox game, it was It was a 64 game on the fucking 3DS. Like it doesn't even count as like a Star Fox game when you think about it.
Smash Brothers.
Of course, everybody's in Smash Brothers. Come on.
I don't know if they're expecting the same amount of hype though
Sure,
that
Solid
came with the
Snake.
World Championship.
Yeah, you always gotta
I mean-
remember this is the second. This is only the second World Championship. They did it in 1990, and that was it. They never. This is the only other time they're doing it.
But this is a perfect time. Nintendo doesn't do E3, right? They do Nintendo Direct.
Entire movie based on that, like The Wizard, right?
Yes.
The Power
Yeah.
Glove there? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean that movie was dedicated to the promotion of Mario 3. I mean, Nintendo had such a huge influence back then.
but I mean, I'm not to say they're as big as but they still have an influence nowadays. Like, people watch what Nintendo does just to watch what they're gonna do.
Did you guys hear about
Plain and simple?
Land? Like the actual amusement park, they finally
yes.
profit, and they're fucking building a theme park. It's like, holy shit!
Good for them.
Universal,
or
they watch what Nintendo's going to do and go do the exact opposite because they know they'll be successful.
All right.
You're just
so
audience.
We've got Metroid and Star Fox. All right. Well, you know what? We're going to know in 3 weeks. Maybe we'll talk about it a little more.
I like Star Fox. I would love to see a new Star Fox. And actually, if there's anything that could get me to buy the Wii U, it would be a good Star Fox game.
Whoa. Naughty said he would buy a Wii U if there was a Star Fox game on it.
He would buy a Wii U.
Wait a second.
Stop this fucking train.
It could happen. Like, alright, you found my weakness. I dig me some Star Fox.
Who's your favorite Star Fox character?
I feel the same way if a Metroidvania type game came out.
Is it Slippy?
It's gotta be Slippy.
It's gotta be Slippy.
I like Slippy.
New barrel.
Alright.
So as long as it's not like Dinosaur Planet, you'd buy it.
We're quickly running out of time.
A terrible game. Star Fox Assault, whatever that was. God, that was awful. Anyway, moving on.
Yes, moving on. So we're going to briefly go over some. I say briefly because I'm probably lying. How some companies did over the past year. At the end of the first quarter, they've sort of checked in with people now. So Sega had an absolutely terrible year. Not that we didn't see that coming. Bad retail sales. They weren't happy with Alien Isolation for some reason. And
no Altered Beast, no Golden Axe. I don't know.
They were.
Who knew?
Alien Isolation. It did pretty well.
Well, but you know, 2
million
million sales.
Space or the other one. Fuck.
The Space Marine game.
Ugh.
Okay, so Alien Isolation did well. The rest of the shit went bad.
E3 this year.
But you know, Sega's doing restructuring, so we knew they were going to have a bad year.
True.
This is coming, so.
But here's the thing, they're doing a restructuring, but at the same time, they are not going to have a booth at E3, which is a problem because when you listen to people in the industry talk about how important it is to be at E3 and how difficult it is to get floor space at E3. Now, if you have been a presenter in the past, you basically get a checkbox of like, I will go again next year. It's a recertification. You're in. You request your floor space. You're there. But to pull out of E3 entirely, they're never going to get back in there. It's going to take them. It's going to be a pain in the fucking ass to get back in there.
That is old school, outmoded now. Like, it's not that important to E3. And who are you selling to at E3? Other industry insiders and investors? Look, your game is either invested in or not by the time it's at E3. You know, if you're looking at like the actual important game conferences now, you've got GDC, you've got PAX East, West, South, North, freaking Mars, whatever. Those are the important conferences now for indie developers.
I agree.
Established publishers and studios under an established publisher, who gives a fuck if you're at E3? You're just there to demo your game, drum up some public interest.
You know what I think it is? I think it's a buzzword. E3 is a buzzword.
I think Sega's gonna. I'm actually rooting for Sega here. I think Sega's gonna take this year. They're not gonna do much this year, but next year they're gonna come back strong with some big titles.
No, here's what they said.
ISO titles.
They said over the next few months...
they're not doing that too, but...
Over the next few months, Sega of America will be focusing on restructuring and relocation to Southern California. We've decided not to attend E3 with our own booth this year, with the majority of our bigger titles launching later in 2015/2016, particularly those from our AAA studios, Relic Entertainment, Sports Interactive, Creative Assembly. We're concentrating our efforts on some of these major announcements after our relocation. So we'll probably hear something at GDC, like about what they're doing later in the year, right?
It's not a terrible strategy. We know Sega is like in bed with Creative Assembly always. That's always been a huge moneymaker for them with the Total War series. And now Creative Assembly is, working with Games Workshop with the Warhammer series. So,
Total War Warhammer.
Total War Warhammer, exactly. Or as I say, Total Warhammer.
Also, I'm going to call this right now. Valkyrie Chronicles come back and it's going to release on PC simultaneously with the consoles.
Wouldn't be such a bad idea. I mean, the first one was pretty entertaining from what I gathered. And it's on sale on Steam right now, I think. Like $7. Okay, so they're not going to be there.
$4.
$4, okay. So they're not going to be there. I think E3 has become a big buzzword. People say like, "You're not going to be at E3? Oh my God, you're not going to E3?" Like
a giant press conference.
Right. I mean, it's 3 days of basically, fucking masturbation for these companies, right? They show other people, investors, what they already put out.
It was the most visible kind of news outlet every year. But now, like Nollis has said, people are paying more close attention to like the PAX East.
It died off as a viable games conference when they closed it to the public. You can no longer get 2 or 3 day passes. It's just a general joke. When Kensho Hall went away and all the independents were gone, who cares?
Well, that's okay. I mean, whatever. They're not going to be at E3. They'll probably do fine. Maybe it is a good move for them. So let's talk about Ubisoft. There's some good news from Ubisoft. Ubisoft, in their annual report, they said their revenue, for Ubisoft, it's good news, their revenue is up 45%, and they will no longer be releasing games on previous gen consoles.
Moving on.
Okay. So the Division is coming in early 2016, and they have a new IP called Heroes. Was this like an open world fantasy RPG game? I'm sure May is going to have a comment about this.
Shame on you guys for buying Ubisoft games. Yeah, they're completely shit that they pulled it last year.
I love though how the fact that I don't know how many people remember, but it was several years back. Ubisoft bought Tom Clancy's game. They outright bought it. Like they could make Tom Clancy's certified public accountant if they wanted to, and it would be a legitimate game. He's not sticking his name. He's not approving these games anymore. They just throw it wherever they want it.
Oh, I mean, they're not going to use that name anymore.
I'd play Tom Clancy's certified public accountant. That could be pretty fun.
That'd be a good simulator game. You have to use your hand to push the buttons on that calculator.
You get Jack Ryan and down on working the old QuickBooks.
What is happening?
And the only other Ubisoft news that's out there is we did get confirmation on the next Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
No way.
Which is set in London in 1868, features 2 playable characters, which are twins. The protagonists are Jacob Fry and Evie Fry.
Yeah.
I have to add something to this.
Feminist pandering.
I have to add something to this because I watched the 10-minute reveal.
Social justice warriors going on? What?
Well, I watched the 10-minute reveal, and I thought that Ubisoft did something right. They showed, number one, they showed gameplay. That's a big fucking deal.
Fake gameplay.
They showed gameplay. They showed gameplay. They showed familiar stuff. They showed some new stuff. It was narrated in a very boring way. I don't know if that was Yves Guillemot or what, but it was kind of blah. But watching it, you saw, the environment and what it was about, and I don't know. I just feel like this was a good... they could have just put out a cinematic trailer and been like, we're going to vomit this shit at you in October, deal with it. But they showed us some gameplay, which is okay. I feel that's a step in the right direction for Ubisoft. I mean, maybe I'm crazy. I'm just saying, it's not a bad idea.
You're nuts.
I heard they showed gameplay in Watch Dogs, too.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
What's
Cash
the actual
on delivery.
I'm not saying go out and pre-order it or buy it. I'm just saying I think this... And the whole time it said alpha video trailer, whatever, on the bottom...
Hey. I was gonna say this when we were talking about Witcher. You always see these amazing screenshots of Assassin's Creed, and the game looks nothing like it.
Yeah, but the thing with The Witcher though is they're always with a little byline on the bottom saying actual gameplay.
That's true. Well, I don't know if we should go back to that argument. We could be here for 20 minutes.
I'm kind of gonna admit it that I'm a sucker for those Assassin's Creed trailers. I watch this one, I'm like, man, this looks pretty good. Maybe I should buy that. But yeah,
I've always enjoyed the Assassin's Creed games. Black Flag was the pinnacle of the series. It was a phenomenal game. It performed well. It lived up to its expectations. Unity was fucking garbage. Just hot garbage. And after that, like I said, cash on delivery. If you want me to buy this game, you show me the game when it's out and why I should buy it.
Yes, fair enough.
That's a major point. Stop pre-ordering things that you're not.
I did.
Sure,
I canceled mine. I finally said, you know what? You need to take your own advice. You should be...
It's hard to break out of that cycle, though.
it's exciting. You see something, you get hyped, and you're
Yeah.
like,
But it was like
need this.
No, seriously, I was like, CD Projekt Red. These guys built The Witcher 1, The Witcher 2. These were PC games. They know the PC market. They know what we expect, and they've been catering to us. And all of a sudden, Witcher 3 comes out, and it's like, holy shit, you sold out. You've gone, console. There's no other way to put it.
And, even with Black Flag being the best, I still, that was for me, the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, I bought that game on sale, and you still do the same exact crap you did in all the other games. Yeah, you got a boat, but the gameplay is exactly the same.
I like the boat.
Every Ubisoft game, climb tower, reveal map.
Listen, it's called the Ubisoft formula. Okay, yes, you climb to the tower, you jump off the tower. If you play Far Cry, it's the same. I started playing Far Cry. It's the same shit, except it's a radio tower and a zip line. Like,
yeah, but it had pirate ships and sea
sharks. Yes, I know. I'm figuring that out. The formula is generally the same.
Who here did not go unlock every sea shanty? Come on. Who?
I unlocked everything in the game.
Still haven't played it, so.
Me either.
Like, I am not a collectibles person. Like, if you show me a game, like, and go find all these collectibles, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But when I knew there were sea shanties, that became my mission.
All right, gentlemen.
Just needs to add more boats. And this apparently bitches love boats.
Listen, we talked enough about Ubisoft. They were our worst developer last year, as voted by us. Let's move on to announcements and debuts. So, what caught my interest the most over the past couple of weeks was that there was a teaser on Twitter from Larian Studios and Deck 13. Larian is responsible for Divinity Original Sin. Deck 13 is responsible for Lords of the Fallen. Both of those companies are working on new projects, and they're both being published by Focus Home Interactive. Now, a couple of days after the teaser, the announcement on Twitter, Larian actually tweeted out a sort of the right arm image of like an archer, and I was like, immediately I was like, oh, this is Divinity Original Sin art style. And later that day, they had actually confirmed the Original Sin Enhanced Edition, which is bringing the game to consoles. And if you own Divinity Original Sin already on Steam, you're going to get the Enhanced Edition for free, and it's going to be DirectX 11 compatible. And it will have better graphics. It will have full AAA voice acting. It will be basically an entirely new game. It will have like a better main storyline. It will have new encounters. This to me sounds amazing. I'm getting another game for free.
Why can't it be on the Wii U?
It's not going to be on the Wii U. It's coming out on PlayStation and Xbox.
Divinity
it would be so useful.
It was the classic return to the Baldur's Gate style, but re-envisioned. More real time, more fluid combat, and it worked so well. And a lot of people criticized the game because it kind of held true to the old present text, respond text style of character interaction. And yeah, I'm on board. I think the full voice acting could really add a lot of depth to the game that some people who just couldn't get into the game because, good lord, you're like asking me to read stuff. Forget that. I think it'll appeal to that crowd. But I look forward to it. I'm gonna go back. I want to see what the voice actors, how they work through the conversations. Because if you play Divinity Original Sin, especially in co-op, you and your co-op partner might actually argue over conversation points. So I like to see how that plays out.
Which was also a beautiful storyline element. Go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
That too. Oh no, it's okay. You know exactly when to jump in, as we all do. But we're also worth noting on his point, since we brought it up with the other thing, worst developer with Ubisoft. Divinity Original Sin, if I recall from our 2014 awards episode, also was pretty high up there in several categories.
Yes. And I hadn't played it yet.
Nominated for
But I will say this: I just finished playing it, and I started playing Pillars of Eternity, and I popped into the channel with Naughtiest yesterday, and I was like, this game is so fucking boring. Like, I want to go back and play Divinity Original Sin, And I had that thought before I saw this announcement, and now I'm like, fuck, the moment the Enhanced Edition comes out, I'm just going to play that again. Cause...
It's like Divinity took that core gameplay style we wanted from the old Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, and Icewind Dale series, and they brought it into the future, where Pillars is a direct jump to the past. Well, I'm not saying it's a bad game, it's just like, going from Divinity back to Pillars, it's like jumping back in time. It's like firing up Baldur's Gate again, for the first time. You're just kind of like, well, this was fun, but
it is. Yeah, it's definitely stuck in the past. It's not any harder to get into than Divinity, but one of the things I had said to Naughty the other day was like, there's no humor in the game. Like the characters all seem really flat. Like you got to go through these companion quests with them to kind of learn who they are before they even really open up to you. And like in Divinity, like right away you understood who this character was when you picked up a new companion, like what their personality was. Right away you knew what their end game was. Like they had a quest, where they came from. Like the game put a lot of shit on the table for you, and like Pillars makes you work for it in a good way, but it's just boring. Like there's nothing that keeps me personally invested in that game. Every time I booted it up, I'm like, I wish I was playing Divinity again. I can't wait for the Enhanced Edition to come out now because I want to play it. But anyway, so if you're into that kind of game, we highly recommend Divinity Original Sin. I regret not playing it last year on Naughty's recommendation, and when I first played it with Lucy, I fucking hated the game. And it turned around for me, and I ended up loving it once I got to play
Lucy
it.
was just a bad player.
It just our schedules didn't line up, and I don't know. I'm not a co-op player because my schedule sucks all the time.
And we blew up.
And we blew up, yes. Okay, so the next announcement debut is Naughty. Why don't you take us through what's going on with Oculus?
Yeah, so Oculus decided that they've finally announced the Oculus CSV, the consumer release version, coming out Q1 2016. And be ready for this one, because it's not going to be easy to run for most people. Recommended system specs, if I recall off the top of my head, were at least a quad-core hyper-threaded processor, an NVIDIA 970 at the minimum. So what what you're basically having to do here is you get to power a display that has a native resolution of 2160 by 1200 at 90 frames per second. That is a challenge.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it is.
Game, I do not think 970 is going to be adequate.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Especially for some open world games.
No, your average AAA title, no, it's not going to happen. From a lot of
E Valkyrie,
Unity,
maybe.
Yeah, if they optimize the everything shit out of it and cater it to that, it's going to be tough. And what I've been saying for the longest time, it's going to be ending initially. Because this is something that most people aren't used to doing. We like our monitors. Our monitors, can display video very well with, even like latent technologies like VSync. You can, as long as you're around 60 frames per second, you're generally pretty good. But when you start getting up there, above 1080p at, 90 frames per second, that's hard. You're gonna have to cut your details back.
Yeah, this whole VR thing it's like the specs just seem to keep going up and up and up and up. And now this is pushed back.
It's such a sensitive type of viewing too, where you can't really get away with 30 FPS is the most optimal FPS.
Yeah, so the DK2, the Rift that I've been using, has a native resolution of 1080p, 1920 by 1080, and that's pretty easy for my system to do. But at 90 frames per second with full details in a lot of games, that's going to be very difficult for most people to do.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to do right now. That's a big investment to get to that point.
I think that's why they're banking on Q1. They kind of know that by that time we should have another cycle of video cards.
Yeah.
And, the mid-range stuff to be a little more affordable.
Makes sense. As long as they don't keep, creeping what they want out of this thing up and up and up and up, which has happened up to this point, right? Knowing, as they learn more about what is really required to make this useful thing, like, it's got to run at this amount of FPS to be realistic. It's got to run at this resolution, That pushes the requirement like higher and higher every time, and hopefully they've come to a point where they can accept that it's going to launch with this, and at that point we're going to time it just right so that people's average video cards are good.
Their latest development cycle, the Crystal Cove and so forth, were running a 1440p display, which is 2560 by 1440. That's the native resolution that I run on my monitor, and I think a couple of people do. It's pretty much becoming the standard like PC resolution, but still, a lot of us are running monitors with G-Sync technology and variable refresh rates, and if our games dip below 60 frames per second, we don't particularly care. But when you're dealing with the Rift, you've got the head tracking, and the head tracking has to run at 90 frames per second, or you're going to get sick.
Yeah, and that's become more apparent to more people as time has gone on. It's been a huge talking point on several gaming talk shows that I watch and listen to. So yeah, and you were saying that for months now, and it's really starting to actually get in people's heads like, well, we really need this to run at this level, otherwise it is not worth using this.
Right.
All right, well, we'll see what happens with the Oculus and the Vive and the Samsung headset and the Morpheus as time goes on. I'm going to let AI take care of the rest of these, but I'm just going to kind of bring them into this one. So this past week, we saw a new Kickstarter from Koji Igarashi go up, the guy who developed Castlevania, for a Kickstarter called Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. And it exploded. AI, take it away.
All right, so we were just talking about a lot of Kickstarters actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Divinity and Project Eternity and Oculus Rift are all Kickstarters also. But yeah, this is another big Kickstarter, and this is from the Castlevania developer.
Divinity was a Kickstarter.
And it is basically now competing with Yooka-Laylee for... it may even possibly break highest Kickstarter for a video game, but it's not unlikely because of Star Citizen.
Yeah, that's unlikely.
If you don't count all the other crowdfunded Star Citizen has. I'm sorry.
But within only a few hours of this actually going up, it was already funded. It was like 4 hours maybe. It was right along the same pace as Yooka-Laylee. And I was watching this, and it went from like 500,000 to like 730,000 in like a half an hour that I was looking at it the first day.
It has 2.27 million in just 4 days. Yooka-Laylee has 2.52 or something, so it's only $250,000 behind Yooka-Laylee, and it's been up about a third of the time.
Well, it went up May 11th, so it's been up 6 days.
This is basically like the Konami death blow, in my opinion. There's no way Konami can even make another Castlevania now because they went the completely opposite route, and now they're going back to the roots, and people want to go back to the roots. This is pretty hard proof right now. And I mean, they don't even have gameplay or anything up. They just have some concept art, and it's still being backed by a crazy amount of people.
Yeah, and
for crazy amounts. And
he explained exactly why. If you watch the very interesting video, it's very Koji to do something like this. He arrives and like as a bunch of bats that materializes and leaves as a bunch of bats. It's very, very fun. It's just a lot of fun. He throws a glass, but he says in the video that this money is not necessarily the only thing that's going to be going into the game. This is to prove to investors that he has lined up that this game is desired, and the way that people responded to the
Star Citizen approach.
Yes, the way that this was approached was just like that, Star Citizen, and he's got things ready to go. Like whatever this ends at, 3 million, whatever, he's going to have a huge amount of money backing it to go on all platforms at this point. And this is a huge project. Good on him for doing this.
He stated in the Gamasutra article that he has 90% of the funding already. He just had to, on the condition that he could show that there was demand for Metroidvania still. And
so he did. He delivered.
They're also going for Guilty Gear Xrd style art style, basically, where it's 2D, but it has 3D.
A great art style.
Yes, fantastic art style. I wonder if
they
support it.
No doubt.
A lot of technical difficulties with that they had to overcome.
Did any of you guys back this particular project?
Yes, I backed it.
I will probably be backing it in the short future. I thought personally it was a really good kick in the nuts as well. Not that this whole thing isn't a big kick in the nuts to Konami. David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake,
The original voice of Solid Snake.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So maybe as a stretch goal, see if we can get a Solid Snake character. Maybe, I don't know. It might be DLC, but I don't think Koji's that trash enough to make it paid DLC.
And
so they can't actually do it because Konami owns the rights.
And the game is slated for March 2017, and the cheapest pledge that will get you a game is $28, and you'll get a digital copy for Xbox One, PS4, or Steam, compatible with PC Mac Linux. Not bad for a game. $30, good price point for what's conceivably going to be a AAA title, with all the trimmings and backings of it. So.
I mean, and like things like this, you're super excited for them, but you got to step back and go, oh, should I pre-order? I mean, essentially pre-order.
Well, it's like
because he obviously doesn't need the support anymore. So I mean, that argument's kind of not really.
But it's like shitting on publishers, which is always a good thing.
And I think people, just for that reason. We want your creators, Konami. We don't want you anymore.
This is one that we will watch. We will watch this with eagerness, because this is definitely a game that harkens back to everyone in here's childhood, essentially. There's two more games that I think I wants to introduce before we move on to MMO stuff, so why don't you bring us through those?
So this one kind of caught me by surprise. I didn't even realize this was a thing, but it's called Ark Survival Evolved, and it is basically open world survival type game with multiplayer. I don't believe it's an MMO, but it has a lot of multiplayer. And you basically are in the prehistoric era, but there's advanced technology and shit, and you get to ride dinosaurs.
That's what I was gonna say. You get to ride fucking dinosaurs. There is no other reason that you need to buy this game.
And you can fucking shoot guns on a dinosaur.
That's right. Did you guys see this trailer? Because it's 3 minutes and 43 seconds of just pure shooting, anarchy, and riding dinosaurs.
I could do all this stuff with Dino Crisis. So what are you trying to say?
But have you seen this trailer?
Is Dino Crisis an open world multiplayer game?
You can shoot dinosaurs?
No, it is not.
With bullets.
What's important...
Ride a dinosaur and shoot on a dinosaur.
What's important is that you can have the Stegosaurus cavalry, and I will command the Pterodactyl Air Brigade. And we will kill people.
Early access, I believe. So, can you actually play this right now?
I didn't look into it that much. I was too enthralled by the video. We could type it in on Steam.
I don't see it on Steam.
Okay, it's not on Steam. Probably not on
beta
GOG.
Sign-ups.
Sign up for the beta. You can shoot pistols and ride dinosaurs. I'll sign up for it. You give me the link and later on, and I will sign up for it. I'm guessing by Naughty's silence, he's not impressed by the dinosaurs.
Not impressed.
Normally, he would have said something by now. It's not on Wii U, Papa, so don't even ask.
You fuck yourself.
All right, what's the next game? Apparently, there's only 3 of us. We're gonna play this game, and you guys are gonna watch us stream it and be like, I should have entered the beta for that game. All right, what's the next game?
All right, Gust, which makes the Artillery series and Artonoico series, they just announced that they're going to be slowing down development on those series, and they're going to start making new IPs. And they announced one of their new IPs, which is Yoro no Nai Kuni, which is A Land Without Night in Japanese. So, I guess, in the interest of time, please look forward to it. Do you want to talk about this? Probably not, right?
Nope.
All right, well, I did get my Weibo news in.
That's fine. So let's move on to our MMO news short section, which has been requested by people within our community. I think, I don't remember.
Who aren't here and don't listen to the podcast
Right.
anyway.
So, AI, why don't you tell us about this one? First one on the list. Generate your
You
name
can
next to it.
now sign up for Black Desert in the JP region, except you need to do a whole bunch of shit to play it, but there is an English patch for it. So, yay!
If you're excited, you can play it now. Good on you.
If you know hiragana and you could get past the captcha.
That's probably the toughest part, actually.
Though you could probably use a guide to get past it.
Conversely, you could learn 2,000 characters to kanji and you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, you
It's
don't
easier.
have to down the English patch. You save an easy step.
So, Seifer, what is going on with Destiny that we should care about that game still exactly?
Well, I mean, no one cares about it, but
They're having a stream event of some kind.
they had one last weekend, and it detailed all of their Prison of Elders and Trial of Osiris. It's like their two main endgame points that's going to be in House of Wolves. They're pretty much just trying to balance what you can do in PvE and PvP and still come out with comparable gear. Both systems look pretty good. It's mainly 3-man. So they kind of took a hint at, hey, no one's doing the raid content. Maybe we need to only have 3 people max. But a major point they missed again is there's no matchmaking.
Oh, really?
So they have PvE.
Jesus Christ.
They have their PvE. There's a level 28 entrance matchmaking for the content, but it doesn't give you the rewards that the level 32, 34, and 35 challenge modes do. And that gives you all the new gear. And you gotta have a pre-made team of 3 for that shit.
Now, I heard they brought in a pretty good patch, last patch. And
there one
Queen's event again, but it was more geared towards patrols, and people seem to be really enjoying it.
Yeah, their 1.2 patch went live. It added, for a long time, they took out the Queen's event and pretty much said, yeah, we need to revamp this because it was absolute shit when we first... It was their first weekend event. And they just started doing Iron Banner event, which is PvP, but... it's bounty missions that you could do one for each day. So, at, this Monday is going to be their final day, I think. And each day is a bounty quest, and it's kind of like an open world event where you just go in an area and wait for them to show up. You kill them, you get a key, open a box, and it has a random chance to drop a key, a treasure key, and that's supposedly used inside of Prison of Elders. So they added a bunch of things that are kind of like a pre-House of Wolves kind of taste of, hey, come pre-order our game, and maybe you can use this shit that you're getting.
And then in Destiny fashion, there's a glitch with the chest where if you leave the area and come back, you can loot the chest again. So apparently people can get 4 or 5 loots of the same chest.
Yeah, that QA.
Oh,
It's
Bungie.
definitely still there. But yeah, they did a lot of fixes with some of the guns. Black Hammer, it auto-refilled if you got 3 precision shots. It was conflicting with something else on the weapon. That was finally fixed, so now it's back to being OP garbage.
Okay. So now this is all the stuff with the expansion. So the expansion's like another $20 or whatever it is? Right? You have to pay for it separate?
I think it's 20. Yeah, when the game first came out, they came out with their little pre-order expansion pass. It's $35. It came with both the expansions.
It's not called
it's
expansions.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the term they're using.
They want to call them expansions,
Yeah.
apparently.
We'll play their game until we know better.
Yeah, they're large content patches. Let's put it that way. Something comparable to what an MMO puts out every 3 months.
Okay.
Small DLC.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what's going on with Destiny. Naughty, why don't you... Okay, you have more?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Naughty, why don't you take us through what's happening with WildStar? There's been a lot happening.
WildStar fanatics, or those of you out there who are wanting to play WildStar,
All 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah, very good indications WildStar might actually be going free to play with premium content. I know that is a move that is seldom seen in this industry. But so we're seeing indications that they're wanting to remove physical copies from store shelves, which means they are no longer wanting to honor the 30 days of free game time crap.
Right.
Stuff that hinders you when you're trying to launch your freemium game. We've seen a Steam DB entry created, and that doesn't mean a whole lot in and of itself. We've seen a lot of MMO games that get a Steam DB entry but never see fruition, like MechWarrior Online has one. Still not on Steam. Possible insiders reporting that they're going to the actual free-to-play medium. So maybe it's coming. I don't know.
You know what game doesn't have a Steam database entry?
What's that?
Last Guardian.
Yeah, well, being that was a PS3 release initially, then moved to the PS4, and yeah.
It's just vaporware.
Maybe someday.
No.
So,
Okay.
yeah, WildStar fans might be the
PS5
time.
launch title.
I mean, they're going the same route with this that BioWare went with Star Wars, pulling copies from the shelves and not honoring 30-day shit anymore, and probably putting in a free-to-play model type thing. Like, this is just the way that it goes now with MMOs that can't be supported by a subscription model. And I think Carbine made one. I mean, you could say that they made a lot of mistakes, and I didn't play WildStar personally, but watching from the outside, it seemed to me like those guys just made the game that they thought they wanted to play and that everyone else wanted to play, but it was really just like 5,000 people that wanted to play it, and that was kind of it. But they built it for like 1 million subscribers that they never got and never will get at this point. And
yeah, then they have like 36 people raid or something.
Well, not just the raid,
40.
but the attunement shit that people had to go through, like running dungeons flawlessly.
Yeah, you had to do it. They're amongst the hardest dungeons in any MMO, and you had to do it basically without dying and speedrun.
Yeah, so not the kind of MMO that the typical player finds to be very accessible to get into. The art style was cute, but that's not going to keep people playing your game if you built it like, it's an MMO out of like the year 2002 with a nice art style.
I just heard people abandoned it like rats.
Yes, they did.
I didn't know why.
I mean, my thought when we were building the guild here was this game's going to last 60 days, and then there's going to be an exodus, and that's about what it was. Maybe 90 days. Let's go on to some good news.
Was it even that long?
I mean, I guess so. People hold on for about 45, but when you got to renew again, you question it. Let's talk about just released games, though. Of course, there's been some good games that came out recently, guys.
Games.
Why don't you tell us about the first one, Naughty, since you've been playing this one?
Not just myself, but a lot of folks in the IGC community, they are the actual ones who spun me up on the game. This game is called Windward. Windward is a, how do you describe it? Quasi-MMO. It is a game...
Sid Meier's Pirates.
It is like Sid Meier's Pirates Online, but instead of having a full-on dedicated, server environment by a publisher, it's actually player-run servers. So each server is capable of selecting, the functions they want. If they want hardcore PvP, dedicated world combat, whatnot.
Wait, you didn't call it an MMO, did you?
It's really close, man.
It's a sandbox.
6 players at most.
What? No.
There's a 6-player cap, I hear.
Maybe in the instances and whatnot, but you can get a lot of people going on in a battle. And frankly,
6 players.
I wasn't too enamored with this game at first. There's a lot of repetitive, like questing and trading, and there's an instance system where you and some friends can jump into an instance and kind of take over like some procedurally generated version of the Caribbean. But yeah, like I said, I was kind of like, this is entertaining to some extent, and I was about ready to completely write it off, and then something magical happened. I was in a map that became contested by an opposite faction on the server, and so the people on the map and I now had to go ahead and fight against the people trying to take over our map, and by God, we weren't going to let them take over our map. So
Never.
The next thing I knew, we're engaging in this, it was like a 2-hour long naval battle. Fighting over little cities and towns, and not using conventional MMO tactics, but to some extent we were. Like the larger ships would move in front of the smaller ships when they started taking too much fire to absorb the damage and let the smaller ships maneuver. And while the smaller ships could put their firepower to bear on more critical parts of the ships. I mean, it went from a game that was kind of mediocre to I was like, holy shit, I'm having a really good time doing this. So, Windward. It's going to be what you make of it.
It looks very charming.
It is a game. They try to sell it like you can play it solo, But I'm going to tell you right now, the big rewards in the game come from playing with other people. Go play with other people. You will have an awesome time.
Our stream team, Defiant Daniel, Emmy Mori, Recluse88, they've been playing this on stream, and also with Fatal Magi. I'll give him a plug too. He hangs out here a lot.
Joining with them.
And they are having, I watch it, they're having a blast with this game. Like, it's a lot of fun.
You have to see it like a full-on PvP match. It's amazing.
Very impressive. For a game that's actually relatively inexpensive, and it's on sale right now on Steam. I don't know the exact price.
Wait a minute, I don't understand, because I was told that it's only cooperative. There's no PvP in it.
No, there is definitely there is faction PvP.
The game
was fighting against like 6 other players, and now that I mention it, that seems right. What you were saying earlier, the player limit. I was fighting with 6 other players from another faction trying to take over the map that we controlled, and we had to beat them back, and it was fun.
The game is only $14.99. It's only $14.99 and is on sale for 15% off for $12.74. So it's a very small investment for a game that has a pretty huge return on the fun factor from what I'm gathering here. I've been tempted to jump in and pick it up myself. But
it's a game, you play it and you're like, it should not be this much fun, but you just can't stop playing.
Those are the best kinds of games you just find and you enjoy it. Okay, so also just released Wolfenstein: The Old Blood.
Do you like killing Nazis? Then this game is for you.
Yes, Naughtius, I like killing Nazis.
So, Wolfenstein: Old Blood is the standalone expansion prequel to the most recent Wolfenstein game. And it is, by all accounts, very much worth purchasing. Very high quality story, production value. For $20 and about 8 to 9 hours of gameplay, can't go wrong.
Yeah, heard it was great. Another BJ Blazkowicz classic here. So also just released Galactic Civilizations 3 for PC.
Yep.
And none of us are playing that game.
Oh, they actually released it?
It's actually out of early access, which is when we consider it released, because we don't count early access because that means so much stuff can change.
$50.
But yeah, Gal Civ is expensive. It is a fully fleshed out 4X game. This is from the Stardock crew, the guys who also delivered us Sins of a Solar Empire, which is more the action-oriented, version of the 4X game. This one is more the turn-based style.
Okay.
Very good game.
Oh yeah, the trailer makes it look pretty cool.
Like a year ago, I didn't even know it came out.
Well, now you know, Seifer. You can review it for us. An article up there on your Game Nog site.
I'm gonna piss off some aliens.
All right, and also released recently on Steam, Axiom Verge. Now this game was on, what was it, on Vita, PlayStation? Before it came to Steam?
It's been on a lot of console.
Okay.
It's on PS4.
PS4, all right. And now it's on Steam release, and this is a Metroidvania, right?
It is.
Looks 8-bit style.
Metroidvania. Yeah, I was watching somebody playing it the other night, actually, and I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I see where the graphics are going. It's very Metroidvania, but it's like, go back into the old days of taking like the Super Nintendo or even like the old Nintendo 8-bit and bringing it straight into modern times. Like, now you've got modern animation techniques and storytelling methods at your disposal. You're still keeping the 8-bit, really old school style graphics, but you are spinning them up to the next level.
Yeah. This game
looks really cool.
Really, yeah, looks really, really, really fun. It's $20 on Steam right now.
Need more.
This will probably go. This will probably go on sale. At least 15 to 20% off for the Steam summer sale. So if you're pinching pennies right now, you can save a couple bucks if you wait like another month or two. All right, so AI, why don't you take us through the stuff that's coming out between now and the next podcast? You have 5 minutes.
In case you've been living in a hole over the last past 2 years.
What's this Witcher 3 game?
I have not been living in a hole. Papa might have been.
It's an action RPG.
Witches are against the Bible.
That's like trying to sell like an apple by saying it's a fruit.
I hear this game has 20 hours. I hear this game has 20 hours of pornography. Where do you stand on that?
I thought it was 40 hours actually.
That's
captured.
Twice the pornography for the same amount of money, even better.
Listen, at the rate this is going, chances are we're going to get 3 of it, and the other 15 hours is DLC.
I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot about it next podcast.
I heard
You
could have
know
sex
we
on
will.
A horse.
Pre-order canceled.
Not with a horse, but on a horse.
On a unicorn.
You could have sex with all sorts of different races too.
Oh, how progressive.
Destiny, House of Wolves.
Right, moving on. I would like to watch Game of Thrones tonight.
I'm not calling
Destiny DLC. We get to finally find out what the darkness is.
What's your destiny?
It appears to be an insubstantial cloud that we have yet to discover how to defeat permanently. Next.
It's trying to stop the... Well, it's coming out May 19th, and it's for PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, and Xbox One. Alright, next, Hyper Dimension, Neptunia, Rebirth 2, Sisters Generation is coming out on the PC, on Steam.
Uh-huh.
And it's coming out May 19th, and it's a pervy JRPG.
Thank you.
Another Hyper Dimension game is coming out too, but this is Neptunia U Action Unleashed, which is an action RPG. Also pervy. And that's coming out May 19th for the Vita. Magica 2, Learn to Spell again.
There are so many of us right now who are excited for this game.
This is another game that's going to be awesome on stream.
Yeah, like Papa J and I are just counting down the days. Like we played the original Magica before. It's a phenomenal game. It requires so much thinking and position and movement within the game. And frankly, when you get 4 players into a cooperative
A bunch
match,
of teammates that don't friendly fire you to death.
oh god, you're gonna blow each other up. It's like it's not a matter of like, oh god, I got blown up, that's a shame. It's like, oh, I got blown up again, whatever, I'm gonna deal with it. Because you are blowing your friends up at all opportunities of the game because they might be in your way when you're under attack from a dozen mobs closing in your position, and Papa J just happens to be standing next to you shooting a beam at some mob that doesn't count, and I'm just gonna be like, you know what? These 12 mobs, more important than Papa J, I'm gonna kill them all.
This game
I
is
just like to run around using that Armageddon spell all the time.
Oh god.
this game running at 60 FPS also looks
Crashed it.
amazing.
We have. So I introduced the streaming crew to this game the other night. One of them didn't like it. The bulk of them did, and that's kind of part of the course. I think with Magica,
Yeah.
you either love it or you hate it because it is such a tactical game, and you have to like actually memorize the spells because you're having to hit like 10 key combinations on your keyboard to execute your spells. So if that's not for you, you're gonna have a bad time of it. But if you
Or
can
just
start
learn
to-
the most overpowered spell and use that over and over again.
that doesn't always get you out of
That's-
trouble though.
Hopefully they fix that this time around.
That was pretty much what you could do in Magica 1.
Yeah, it was. But you still needed to know the other spells to like get rid of ice and stuff when you had to deal with environmental blocks and things like that.
This is coming out May 26th, and it's for PC and PS4, no Xbox.
And we will definitely be streaming this one with like 4 players co-op. It'll
This-
be a good time.
This game plays very well on a gamepad too, like the first Magica did.
Yeah.
It's easy to put in the stuff
Console
compared to a
peasants,
keyboard.
Filthy console peasant.
I'm just saying it made it very easy to put stuff in on the pad.
There's very good trophies that increase my gamer score in PS4 version, so maybe you should get a PS4.
Boy. Moving on.
PS4 doesn't have Star Fox though.
It could if Nintendo would. Well, anyway, moving on.
Next.
Ultra Street Fighter 4. Who's excited for this one?
Nobody. Justin Wong is.
Looking for a way to
Wherever
waste
he
money on DLC. How can
Yeah.
I waste more money on DLC, Nate?
This is. I don't believe they're pricing it full price, but it's basically DLC. This guy says a full game. I mean,
It'll be $50 and
let's be honest. Street Fighter hasn't really. I mean, they released Super Arcade Edition and now Ultra, and they'll maybe add 2 characters, 3 characters. They'll probably be Shotos. Maybe like 3 or 4, maybe 3 Shotos and another unique character. Actually, I think they're adding another Kami Kong.
fuck this game. It's just
Yeah,
whatever.
May 26th, PC, PS3, Xbox 360, and PS4.
I'll care when Evo 2015 comes out.
And then finally, we have Hatsune Miku Project Mirai DX, which is a music rhythm game. If you haven't played any of the Hatsune Miku games, that are pretty similar. and it's coming out May 26th, and it's for the 3DS.
Did she team up with Pizza Hut or some shit in Japan?
I have no idea.
Like, you could order the pizza with her avatar. It's something stupid. I don't know. It's really popular, though.
No, don't eat Pizza Hut. It's bad. Splatoon?
Yeah, Splatoon on Wii U, May 29th.
Oh, I thought you could play that now.
I mean, you can play it now, but the official release is a week and 6 days from now.
Okay, well, Splatoon. That's a good game. Looks pretty cool. All right, so...
Sure about that?
I'm going to double check that. In the meantime, we will move on to our last segment, our personal segment about what we're playing and what we're doing with our lives now, and where you can find us doing the awesome things that we do. So, Seifer, why don't you start telling us what you're playing now and where we can watch you play stuff?
Still doing that Final 14 grind.
I'm sorry.
And no, it's actually fun. I'm very surprised. A lot of new content since I last played. A lot of stuff you can do solo, which what I mainly was complaining about. But yeah, I'll be streaming that at GameWin on our front page, the stream page. It's under GameWin. Usually stream in the morning. Weekends I'll stream kind of whenever.
Okay, very cool.
And Destiny House of Wolves, definitely plan on at least trying it. I will at least try
on May 19th when it comes out?
Yes.
All right. Papa, what have you been playing, and do you stream? Can we watch you play games somewhere?
I have the potential to stream, but I typically don't, mostly because I'm always busy doing other things. I mean, most of the past 2 weeks I was on nights, so I came home at 7 in the morning and slept until 5 in the afternoon. It was time to get up and go to work again. But I've been playing some Tabletop Simulator, as mentioned earlier in the podcast. I kicked ass and took names last night during King of Tokyo. Other than that, I did get Windward, so I might join Naudius and the rest of the streaming crew at some point in the next week or so.
Awesome.
And past that, I will be playing Magica when that comes out, a week from Tuesday. So that's pretty much my schedule for the next 2-3 weeks.
Very, very cool. So, more Windward. Lucy, what are you playing lately, and can we find you somewhere on the internet?
No, not so much. Unless you're Play-Doh. Other than that, I've been trying out the new version of Landmark. They released a pretty big patch. It kind of just overhauled everything. They made a lot of different improvements, and actually now if you start playing it, you can use unlimited resources, so it's easier to get into building.
Okay, cool.
Like before, if you needed to build something out of stone or sand, you had to go and gather it, and that was a really tedious job. And now you get the basic, at least the basic building material like stone and sand for free, so you can, pretty much build whatever you want. And if you wanna later down the road change something, you can just replace the materials once you gather them.
Oh, so they're making it a little more like you don't have to tear shit down constantly and rebuild it?
Yeah, you
That's
don't
cool.
have to just sit 3 days and gather stone because you want to build a tower.
Sounds more accessible to me, and I think that's what that game needs.
Definitely.
And do you stream it ever?
I'm kind of right now just experimenting with how to build stuff.
Okay, very cool. So, AI Monster, what have you been doing, and where can we watch you do it?
Well, I finished my Sinner Kagura Platinum, so I've been
Finally
trying to clear out my backlog. I played a few quickies, Never Alone and Torin. They were really quick though. Those are only about 2-hour long games.
Yeah, those are shorties.
Um,
Did you stream both of those? Do you have videos for them?
Yes, I did
Cool.
stream them. I did not post videos though.
Oh, okay.
And I probably won't.
And you probably won't. Is that everything you're doing then?
Just because I don't think they're relevant. No, I also started Pavian, which is actually really enjoyable. Not quite as short, but pretty short too.
And where do you
Probably
stream?
about halfway through.
Where do you stream all these fun things?
I stream on Hitbox. It's AI Monster.
All right. Last but not least, Naughtius. What have you been playing? And
So
we know what you've been playing with.
Couple days I've been playing Windward. It's been a lot of fun. A couple other games I've been getting into this week. Space Engineers, been revisiting. A lot of fun with that. Probably try to get a few more people into that. It's matured a lot. I think it's to a point where it has some actual mass crowd appeal. Definitely a Minecraft competitor at this point. What else? A little KSP. KSP came out with a major release. Actually, it was officially released, so I've been hitting that up a bit. And my band got lifted from Grand Theft Auto. That's great. Lost all my money. Kept all my stuff though. So fools on them. I spent all my money.
At least you can
stuff.
play.
Well, you cheat, you lose, but whatever. So I will probably this week be playing a bit of Windward. And getting ready to play Magica when it comes out, definitely. I think
Cool.
we're all going to be looking forward to that and get a 4-player Magica team going.
I look forward to that.
Streaming-wise, I am on Twitch TV at Naughtius, and I think on Hitbox now at Naughtius. I'm still trying to determine which of the two I like better. Right now, I'm leaning towards Hitbox.
Excellent. We need more hitboxers for sure. We'd like to have a big presence over there. We actually have an Impact Gaming group as well.
It's a superior gaming stream system, honestly. They
Yeah.
don't mute you for playing licensed music at this point, which is included in the game, so I don't, I'm playing the game. The music is part of the game. Why are you muting?
Yeah, who even knows what's going on with that?
There's a lower stream delay, better
Higher
interface.
bitrate. Twitch's
Oh, yeah.
bitrate is 3500, Hitbox is 4500, so that helps me because I stream natively at 1440, so 1440 at 30 frames per second is not doable on 3500.
Alrighty. So,
Also, can I just mention a quick update? Papa J was right. Splatoon is releasing May 29th for the Wii U.
you heard it here. May 29th is a Friday, which is a weird day for a game, but okay.
Nintendo Day. Fridays and Sundays they release.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm your host, Gray Geraldin. And I maintain 2 YouTube channels, actually one for my own personal stuff, which is at YouTube/user/GrayEnvy. And on there I do a Game of Thrones Let's Play, which I have not updated in a month now. I have to do episode 3. I apologize for people who are watching that. There's been some views on it. Haven't done part 3. I will get around to that. I'm also doing this stupid, quick look, brief glimpse kind of series called Gray Lights. I did one for Goat Simulator MMO. And I just recently did one for Pillars of Eternity, where I talk a little bit about the combat system, kind of show off some of the user interface for people who are maybe stuck on the fence of whether or not they want to get this game or not. What I've been playing personally, I finished Divinity Original Sin, finally. I'm playing Pillars of Eternity, kind of, I guess. But I think I'm going to drop that, and I'm probably going to play Far Cry 3, just because I need something open world to kind of fill my time between now and Witcher, which is 2 days away. The other YouTube channel I maintain is the Impact Gaming YouTube channel, and on there we do our tabletop nights. We stream everything on twitch.tv/GrayGeraldin. That's GreyJorildyn. And on there you can hear this very podcast. Actually, we're streaming it right now. We have a couple of viewers too. And on the YouTube channel, which is Impact Gaming Videos, we put the tabletop simulator stuff that we do on Saturday nights up there. So that's been a lot of fun. What else do we do? I'm not really playing anything else. I guess once we start Witcher, I'll be streaming that at this very channel as well. Look forward to some of that stuff. But this is the end of our show. We will be back in 2 weeks on Sunday, May 31st, barring any crazy scheduling things. I imagine you fine gentlemen will all be here for that podcast. Hopefully, yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
I hope so. And in the meantime, if you are bored and looking for a gaming community, or just someone to follow and stalk on Twitch, or Twitter, you can do that at impact_gaming_cm on Twitter, Facebook at Impact Gaming Community, or YouTube at Impact Gaming Videos, which I mentioned before. You can catch this podcast every other Sunday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/GrayGeraldin. Or you can find this podcast on iTunes the day after on Mondays, usually Tuesdays, but usually Mondays. On iTunes, by searching for IGC Podcast, you can subscribe to us, leave us a review. And if you are looking to kill some time outside of that, you can stop by our website at www.impact-gaming.us and apply for one of our gamer groups, or our open gamer group now, which we have. And if you want to check out some streams, hit up our front page. There's a nice little module on the right side there that shows you whose stream is live and how many viewers they have. Or you can go to impact-gaming.us/streams to see all of our streamers and what they're doing. And last but not least, if you have any questions you want us to answer here on the podcast, you can hit us up in the Twitch live chat during the show. Or you can come up on our TeamSpeak at ts3.impact-gaming.us and ask us some stuck questions in our TeamSpeak channel. Or you can send us an email at podcast@impact-gaming.us. That is a lot of shit to say at the end of a fucking show. Really looking forward to doing this again in 2 weeks, guys. Yeah, so until then, hang out, have a good one, game on, all that good stuff. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, and